there everyone, welcome back to another video at Whole Lot of Drawings, where I like to teach you how to draw your favorite characters step by step. If you're new here, welcome and thank you for checking out my channel. So today we're going to be drawing the character Sonic, and I actually received a personal request to do this one, so I'm hoping that person does get use out of this video, as well as many others who are interested in learning how to draw him. So what we're going to start off with are some basic shapes just to get the foundation of your drawing, because the easiest way to draw a character is to draw the outline of where things are going to go first. So if you do need a stencil or anything like that, go ahead and grab that now. I like to use a cup for circles, so if you want to go ahead and do that too, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I always tend to use a cup to make it a little easier. But if you are more experienced and you feel like you do not need to use a stencil, you're more than welcome to do it freehand. So for the sake of this video though, I'm going to go ahead and use my cup here. So I'm going to place it toward the top of my page because he's a pretty tall character. So we'll start off right here and just trace around the cup here. And do this lightly because these are going to just be sketch lines. You don't want to dig into your paper. Okay, so the next shape we're going to draw is an oval right underneath the circle here. And this is going to be his body, okay? So just a basic tip as well, before you do draw a shape, you want to do the motion. This is what I tend to do. So do the motion before you actually let your pencil touch the paper. And that way you're practicing before you actually do that final line, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do here. And now this is a smaller oval because his body is smaller than his head. Okay, and it doesn't matter if there are multiple lines. You can kind of solidify which one you really want to use later. This is just a guideline of where you want things to go. And now for his head, we're going to draw facial lines just to kind of mark down where his eyes and his nose are going to be. So we're going to draw a curved line. And I like to let my hand rest on the side of my paper here while I'm doing that motion. So your hand is acting kind of like a pivot. You start from the top and work your way down. As you see, my hand is not really moving from the spot it's in. You just work your way up and down. And the same thing for the horizontal line here. It's going to be toward the bottom of your circle. So this is the next line you're going to draw. And I like to take tiny strokes. There's some artists who like to do the full line, but I like to take tiny strokes. It does give me a bit more control while drawing, so if you want to adopt that method, you definitely can. And now for his arms and his legs, we're going to draw lines of where those are going to go. And his right arm is kind of hidden behind his body, so we're just going to do a small line like so. And then his left arm is going to be about here. Just draw a straight line. And to prevent your pencil from digging into your paper, because these are lighter lines, try to use the side of your pencil, because that way they are smoother. So for his legs, I'm going to do 2 lines. Like so, to mark where they start. And he has pretty long legs, so this is where his knees are. Okay, if you want to draw circles, you can. It just kind of marks where the joints are. And then a line that's going to go down, like so. And this one's going to be a little further out. Now, if you do need to pause the video, feel free to do so, and that way you can work a little bit longer on one step and then catch up. There's no shame in doing so. All right, so his hands, we're going to draw some circles here. So we're going to draw one big circle, another circle right there, and his feet are going to be oval shapes. Same thing. I'm going to do some light lines right here. And then this foot's not going to be the same angle. It's going to be pointed downward. Okay, so this is where the detail comes in. So again, pause the video if you do need more time on each step, but we're going to start off with his mouth, okay? So where this line intersects the circle, we're going to draw a little curve. This is kind of where his cheek is. And then the other side is going to be his left cheek. Okay, and then his nose is going to be in the middle where these two lines intersect. Just a little lump right here. Okay, and then we're going to curve from where we stopped with that previous line. And we're just going to curve and connect it to his cheek. Same thing on this side. Now, this is going to be a bit of an easy part, so thankfully this one is easy. We're going to just follow the circle that we drew earlier and then connect one cheek to the other, okay? All right, so that way you have his mouth. And then we're going to draw a curved line upward like so, with a little curve, showing he's smiling. Okay, so for his nose, it's relatively small, so don't draw it too big on his face here. But we're going to start off about where your vertical line is, curve up, and then curve back down toward that same line, and then connect it to that little corner. Okay, so let's get his eyes in here because that is the soul of the character. So this is a very important step. So take your time if you need to. So we're going to follow the circle up, and then we're going to curve like so. This is where his eyebrow is. If it makes it any easier, what I tend to do at times is I mark exactly where my line is going to go, just to kind of give myself an idea of where I'm going to stop. So I'm going to mark exactly where I want his eyebrow to stop. And that way when I'm connecting it, it's a lot easier for me to envision where I'm going. So let's go ahead and connect the spot right here. It's going to be a curve. Now I like to make thicker lines. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is just a technique I like to do. It makes the drawing pop a little bit more on your paper, so that's the reason I like to do that. Okay, then we're going to curve back up. And again, before you do the entire motion, I'm going to mark exactly where I want it to connect. And it's going to connect at his cheek down here. Kind of like connect the dots, so it makes it a little easier. All right, so we're going to curve back up. Like so, connect to your point. And then curve to that next point you drew. And I'm just thickening the lines. Okay, so for his eyes, his pupil, it's gonna be an oval shape. You won't see the entire oval of this eye. If you need to, you can always do a light oval and then erase the top of it if you need to, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do the bottom half of it. Okay, and then this is gonna be an entire oval that you see. Okay. And then there's going to be another oval inside marking where his pupil is. You can color it in if you want to. And then there's going to be a circle right here for some light reflection. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And a circle. Okay, so I'm just going to darken the ovals a little bit. Okay, so let's continue the rest of his head. You're going to follow the circle again, straight up. Stop about there. And then we're going to draw his ear, okay? So his ear is a triangle shape, so I'll just draw a basic triangle. And rest your hand on your paper, let your pencil do the work. Okay, now there's going to be another triangle within this one, but it's going to have a bit more curve to it. So if you want to draw a light triangle first, you can. And then we're going to adjust it a little bit. It's going to curve with darker lines. And that way you see more of the top of his ear. Okay. Again, it's another triangle for his second ear. You can round it out at the top if you want to. Okay. And then another triangle within that one. And we're going to curve, not with your circle, but it's going to be against it. It's going to be a bit over your circle here. Okay, so let's get his quills in here. So the way I do the quills is I use a bit of a fluid motion with my arm. So what you'll do, again, if you want to mark exactly where the end of the quills is going to go, it makes it a little easier. So I'm going to put one dot here, one dot here, and one dot right above his hand. Okay, so from this point we're going to connect to this one, and what I do is a fluid motion. Okay, so I keep my hand on the paper and then I just do small strokes, not moving my hand. And that way my hand kind of acts like a pivot. And now for the second one, I'm going to do the same motion. If you do need to turn your paper, you can if it's a little easier for your hand. So about midway his ear here, we're going to curve and then connect to that dot. If you want to make it further, which I kind of want to, I'm going to put the dot a little further. This is exactly why you do lighter lines, because if you don't like something, you can always change it. Okay, so I'm going to erase that spot right here. And then for his third quill, we'll start about right here. Again, I'm going to draw a dot right there. And then just curve down. Okay, so just for viewing's sake here, just so you can see it, I'm going to turn it upright. And now I'm going to connect this dot to this line right here. Right. And then this one will connect to this dot. And then around his neck right here, I'm going to draw a point. I'm going to connect this dot to this dot. Okay, so for detail purposes, I'm just going to go a little bit past the second quill here. Just draw a little curve. All right, so let's draw his body. So we're going to follow the oval here down from his his chin here. And do this lightly because we're going to be erasing in a little bit. We're just going to continue downward here toward his tail. Stop about there. Then we're going to curve back up toward the oval. From the point here, up. And then just draw a diagonal line. And then he does have a spike on his back as well, so that's what we're drawing now. Just going to curve right out. And we're going to connect to this point right here. Okay? So we're going to curve down, kind of like a shark fin. Okay? So for his arms as well, we're going to draw 2 lines. You can curve it a little bit because his arm is slightly bent. It's going to be along the side of that line. Okay, then we're going to connect it with a curve here. Now his second arm, same thing. Usually your lines, your little guidelines are in the middle. So as you can see, this line is in the middle of what I'm drawing here. So for his hands, I'm just going to draw a curve because this is going to be his wrist area of his glove. And then another curve right underneath. Then you can connect it to the points here. And now this second one here is just going to curve down slightly. These are the wrinkles in his glove. And if you do want a little bit of a guideline as well, I'm going to draw a circle right here. Just a light circle to show exactly how far I want his fingers to go. Okay, so I'm going to follow that circle up and then back down. You can make it a bit more angular if you want to, because this is the top of his hand. So it doesn't have to be a fluid curve. It can have a little point right here, which is what I'm doing. And just connect his glove there. Then we're going to curve back down. And there's a point right here because this is where his knuckle is. And you're going to stop right about where your circle ends here. Okay, and for his thumb, same thing, just a straight line down. There's a point right here. And there will be a point right here as well. So it's going to stop right about where his tail is. Okay, so then we're going to curve with the circle slightly. We're going to stop about halfway, then curve up. And that's where his thumb stops. And to make it a little easier, just draw 3 lines about an even width apart here, just to show where his fingers are going to go. Now there's going to be a curved line right here, kind of indicates where his thumb and his forefinger are. Okay, so we're going to have a curve right here. A straight line down, curve up and meet that line that you drew earlier. And you can make the lines thicker if you want to now. If you don't like the lines you drew, you can always erase and try again. Okay, then the next curve connecting to the second line. And the third one, it's going to be right where his thumb ends. We're going to curve, connect to that third one. And same thing for his last finger. Okay, so for his second hand, we're gonna do a little curve right here, showing that's where his hand goes into his glove there. And a little kind of donut shape. I'm just gonna draw a circle. That's pretty light here, or an oval. And then draw another oval right underneath. So to solidify the lines around it, I'm just gonna darken those outside lines here, because those lighter ovals you drew were just a guideline. Same thing for that bottom oval. All right, so let's complete his hand. So if you see your circle right here, we're just gonna go along with it here for the top of his hand. And then if you wanna draw a slight line of where his forefinger is going to go, and then his thumb, you can, just to kind of give yourself an idea of where they're gonna go. Okay, then just follow it. Again, those lines are technically in the middle of whatever you're drawing. And we'll curve back up. And we'll stop about where you started right here. Okay, and we're gonna draw a line down like so. And then for his thumb, we're going to draw a curve down here. So a line and then a curve, and then we're going to curve back up toward his wrist right here. Okay. So again, these points right here are about even. So where this started is where this ends, and then you draw another curve up toward his wrist. Okay. Now his other fingers are slightly hidden, so you can draw a line, kind of where your circle was before. You just draw a little curve right here. So that's where his second finger is kind of hidden behind his thumb. Then his other fingers are a little bit visible here. All right, so now let's get his legs in here. And so we're going to start off with the top of his legs. And it's gonna start roughly where his back ends right here and just continue downward. That's why we drew the lighter lines earlier, because we're gonna do some erasing here. Okay, then we're gonna stop right by his knee. Okay, and now for his second leg here. I'm gonna just follow that line, follow it down. So from his knee, we're gonna go ahead and draw a line down to around the same spot. We're gonna stop right above that oval here. Same thing for his following leg. And now for this leg, it's gonna stick out a little bit more. So he's gonna have a bit of a thicker bottom leg here. Right here. And draw a line. And then a curve, because this is where his sock is. Then another one right here. I'm just gonna draw a little line. Don't connect it, because it's just showing that there's a slight crease right there. And another line, and a curve connecting. Okay, so now that we're onto his foot here, just I'm gonna draw a little curve right here, down, and then curve at the bottom of that circle here. And again, if you see that your circle is a bit off from where you drew, that's okay. You can just, again, it's a guideline, so you can always move things. And now he does have a bottom to his shoe as well. So I'm going to draw this line here, right underneath the previous one we drew. And stop about the same spot. We're going to draw a little buckle right here. And it's a square shape. But if you want to kind of look at it, it looks more like a diamond when you're looking at it this way. And then another square within. Okay, and we're just going to continue his heel up to his sock here. And it's just going to be a little curve right here, up. And then just continuing from this line right here, we're just going to curve upward as well, meeting at this corner. Okay, and he does have a strap that goes over his foot here. So I'll lightly just draw that strap above here. Okay, then we're gonna just do an oval here for his second sock. Also with a little curve here around the end of his leg, showing that his leg is going into his sock. And another little bump right here, bump on this side, and then connect it. And we'll just, from probably midway in between his sock here, it's going to be the top of his foot. And we'll just curve down to a point. And let's start his heel right about here. Just starting where your oval is. And then we'll connect to that point. We're going to draw another curve to show that he has a sole of his shoe. And then a strap. Okay, and then we're going to draw an oval for his tummy, curving all the way up. All right, and then you have the basic sketch of Sonic. Okay, so now that we've reached this point, we're going to erase all of the sketch lines. And after that, we're going to outline the entire thing and make it a bit darker. So that way it pops more on the page and it looks more complete. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial with me here at Whole Lot of Drawings on how to draw Sonic. If this didn't turn out exactly how you wanted it to, do not feel discouraged. It does take practice to learn how to draw your characters, and you just have to sometimes draw it over and over in order to get it looking the way you want it to. So just keep at it, and practice makes perfect. And feel free to comment down below and let me know if there's anything you specifically would like to have drawn in any future videos. And just make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon down below to be notified of those future videos. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to seeing you all in another video real soon.